Of January 2020. Hello there and welcome to News Tonight here on UBC TV. First though, let's have a look at our top stories. NRM NEC endorses lining up for primaries. Courts of Law 6 charged over electronic fraud. Bad news for the region as locusts ravage Horn of Africa. And in sports, Dove's Chase Academy hosts Liberation Tourney. Hello there and welcome once again on Sign Language. I'm going to be joined by none other than Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Edward Rukidi Kijanangoma. Now, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has called on the members of the National Executive Council of the National Resistance Movement, NRM, to unite Uganda in order to have a united Ugandan market. The President, who is the National Chairman of the National Resistance Movement Party, made the call at State House in Entebbe, where he addressed a one-day meeting of the second meeting of the third National Executive Council of the National Resistance Movement.
The amendment of the NRM constitution here at State House in Entebbe has not been an easy one, because at first there are some members who were opposing the amendment, but of course the biggest numbers they took over it and they passed the constitution finally to allow the NRM members to line up during primaries. And to make us to understand more about this amendment, I'm joined by the NRM Secretariat spokesperson, Rogers Mulindwa, to tell us more about what this means for the NRM party. Rogers, we have just seen the NEC members have passed the constitution and actually amended it to allow line up. What does this one mean for NRM party?
Of course, when the cost of money we have been spending in these elections will come down by about 50%, because we don't need to buy ink, we don't need to print ballot papers, we don't need to get pens, basins, buckets where we put the ballot papers, and so many.
Then the human resource.
Yes, of course, even human resource, you need to get stuff from Kampala, you have to drive a vehicle to Kapchorwa, you are carrying ballot papers. Suspicion. There has been suspicion about staffing, because in the on the way as they were carrying the ballot paper, somebody stopped here, did what? Oh, this thing is done, will be done. But of course, for some legislators or some leaders who don't have support on the ground, we're opposed to this, because some of them could have got leadership positions through some other ways. But for those who are grounded and they have support, there was no fear, there was no worry. But this is not the final position. Now the final position is going to be taken by the national conference tomorrow on Saturday, and then after that we shall go and do the reprint 2020 of our constitution, so that all the elections we are going to have between March and May will be conducted by lining up. That's what we are waiting for, and I think it's still a big achievement for the party.
And of course that is a good Philip there reporting, but that's not the story that we had earlier on introduced, but that one was actually about the National Resistance Movement National Executive Committee that was sitting at State House in Entebbe, of course amending the party constitution to allow its members to line up during primaries after a heated debate. And according to the members led by the party chairman, that is President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the lineup is cost effective and promotes transparency. And of course the amendment by NEC will now be presented to the National Delegates Conference at Nambole tomorrow, Saturday. But now let's go back to that first story that we had earlier on introduced, and that is where President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni calling upon members of the National Executive Council of the National Resistance Movement, NRM, to unite Uganda in order to have a united Ugandan market. Let's have that story.
People going in politics as a career, as a job, and then they treat it as a matter of life and death. They do everything possible to cheat, to do what? To win. Now, you remember how it all started? Originally, we used to have like the electoral college. Electoral college, delegates would meet and select candidates. But because of that, because of this corruption, the delegates were being given money to vote for this one instead of the other one. So the people went against that. And now we have to go for a mini general election within the party. Everybody voting. And logistically it is it's too much for the party. And then it also doesn't solve the problem of transparency. Because you hear people still complaining, I was cheated, I was cheated, I was cheated. So that's why we said, why don't we go for lining? Evicting villagers from their vivanja, especially in Uganda here. I don't support that activity, and I'm going to resist it. And I want to thank the leaders who have helped me in that one. It's not fair, it's not good. These presidents are the ones who are supporting us. We cannot allow them to be victimized. This one we shall not support. I want to tell you that then the question of stealing of drugs in health centers. I have put a new Minister of State in that ministry. She's always very active. I hope she will apply her weight, which is not small, to that issue. This is Nabanja. I want you to fight the theft of drugs. So therefore, on the issue of ideology, I wanted to update the NEC to say that what we have been telling you for the last almost 60 years is beginning to bear fruits which you can see. This surplus of this, surplus of that, surplus of that is because of what we did in the past, and it shows you that what we are telling you was correct. So let us intensify and correct and fill the gaps.
President Museveni then, of course, clarifying on why the NRM decided to make people line up behind their candidates, and as far as NEC is concerned. And of course, in other stories related to the NEC meeting, the NRM delegates meeting, it has been a beehive of activities as preparations were in high gear for the NRM Delegates Conference 2020, that is at Nambole National Stadium. Now, our reporter Ivan Kawa was at the stadium and now reports.
The National Resistance Movement Delegates Conference 2020 will be taking place at Mandela National Stadium in Kampala. And of course I can say that all is set for the day, as all the tents have been erected and the entire place has been lit up. We are expecting over 15,000 delegates to attend this conference, and of course the NRM party chairperson, who is also the President of the Republic of Uganda, General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, has invited political heads from various walks of life. Of course we shall see delegates coming from the countries of Kenya, China, Sierra Leone, and among various countries. And of course inviting those members who are under the Inter-Party Organization for Dialogue. And of course this is the party that brings together various political parties in Uganda. Tomorrow is when the resolutions that were got from the Central Executive Committee meeting and the National Executive Committee meeting will be put forth before the delegates. However, on the other hand, we are also more likely to expect some of the artists who have been fronting the NRM agenda, and these include Bebe Cool, Catherine Kusasira, Full Figure, Professor Big Eye, King Michael, and many more. Of course, this is a conference where the National Resistance Movement sells in the idea of how and where they want this country to go forth. Of course, reminding you that NRM is the center of politics, since it holds the number of MPs who are more compared to other political parties. Ivan Kawa is my name, and I'm reporting at Nambole National Stadium.
Thanks very much, Kawan. That was earlier on today, but do remember that UBC TV will be there and will give you that delegates conference live in the comfort of either your sitting room or wherever you will be. Now, the Deputy Chief Justice Alphonse Owiny-Dollo has asked Parliament to revise the retirement age for judicial officers, arguing that it instead benefits other countries who poach those in retirement. Justice Dollo hints that due to the rich acquired wealth of knowledge, judicial officers should at least retire after clocking 70 years. This was during the handover ceremony of the Principal Judge Emeritus Yurokam Bamwine, who has been replaced by Dr. Flavia Zeja at a function held at the High Court here in Kampala.
Currently, the mandatory retirement age for High Court judges is 65, while that of Court of Appeal and Supreme Court's retirement age stands at 70. After serving for over 10 years, Dr. Yurokam Bamwine has signed out of service in the judiciary after he clocked the mandatory retirement age of 65.
And of the Holy Spirit.
While handing over office, the Principal Judge Emeritus Dr. Yurokam Bamwine blew his own trumpet, highlighting key milestones the judiciary achieved during his tenure. Bamwine advised his successor to back up data collection and maintenance system as a prerequisite for improved dispensation of justice.
I have spearheaded a number of reforms in the judiciary. They include special sessions, plea bargaining, mediation, small claims procedure, sentencing guidelines.
The new Principal Judge, Dr. Flavia Zeja, pledged commitment in the furtherance of the struggle to stamp out corruption.
Performance, as you mentioned, you've left a substratum of a performance management tool. I will ensure that we implement it, and I will emphasize it. Whoever plans to be corrupt, you will definitely contend with my wrath. There I will not even use a carrot to be a stick.
Witnessing the handover was the Chief Justice Bart Katurewe, his Deputy Alphonse Owiny-Dollo, and the Line Permanent Secretary Pius Bigirimana. In his address, the Deputy Chief Justice Alphonse Owiny-Dollo challenged Parliament on the need to lift the retirement age for judicial officers.
It's like asking the best surgeon, who's now a consultant, to go home and look after chicken, goats, and cows at 65. The time we have parliament, 65 should be for the lower bench and started at 70 for all judicial officers of the Court of Record. Because whatever we've sunk into the rights of justice for women will benefit other people.
Chief Justice Bart Katurewe thanked the outgoing Principal Judge for the tremendous service he has rendered to the judiciary since he joined over 30 years ago. He advised the new Principal Judge on the need to tag along with the administrative structure of the judiciary for teamwork.
So whatever you do, whatever plans you have, whatever strategies you have, you will have to discuss them with the Chief Justice and the Deputy Chief Justice and the management team, because many of our ideas, many of our strategies, solutions we are proposing sometimes come to naught because of one thing called resources. Thank you very much. Congratulations upon your retirement, and I wish you very happy retirement.
Katurewe, who will also retire mid this year, registered disappointment on budget constraints that continue to undermine the performance of the judiciary.
This was done, and Cabinet did give an exemption to the judiciary to buy some vehicles, which the PS worked on, and the Secretary of the Treasury has written and said, no money, no supplementary, until next financial year 2020-21.
This function attracted judges, magistrate courts, registrars, advocates and support staff among others. Lydia Chomkama and Namamonde Deborah compiled this report.
To Nasana now, where the Nasana Municipal Council technical leadership has been suspended to pave way for investigations into allegations of gross mismanagement of public funds. Now, this was after a meeting between municipal leadership and the State House Anti-Corruption Unit. We have this story.
Nasana municipality has been a hotbed of demonstrations over poor infrastructure development and irregular deployment of staff, among others. A team of councillors recently petitioned the State House Anti-Corruption Unit over this misnomer. State House Anti-Corruption Unit has this Friday met and discussed with the municipal political and technical wing to sort out the anomaly. The leaders pinned the technical wing for conniving to defraud public funds in their presentations.
Kubanga sente ezo bagezaako ziwulutanya nga baziteeka gye bazeetaaga gye balina obusobozi okuziriira bazize. Era mu department eyo maama Nrakalema nja kubamenya amanya kubanga mbamanyi. Mwami Kagwire yimirira oyo your health milioni 129 ziri mu ngalo z'oyo mu department yoyo.
During the heated meeting, Wanu Mbabazi revealed how the town clerk had started on corrupting the political wing just to fulfill his desire to defraud Nasana municipality.
Nemukwata ebifaananyi nga abawenguzi abasetemeka tubawulira ne recordings nzirina yajja mu kitundu kyange mwenkiikirira Dr. Kagwire n'agamba bakansala n'abapoteza temwegatta ku bali yalawa sente 10 weyamalo zinawa ze nali mukaba zange namuteze omuzindalo ne mukuba ebifaananyi.
The head of the Anti-Corruption Unit, Lieutenant Colonel Edith Nakalema, addressed the aggrieved teams and provided the necessary counsel that includes suspension of the municipal council leaders.
Now, police the detectives that are here do not allow the technical staff of Nansana to move out of this meeting because they are under investigation.
The meeting was convened by the Permanent Secretary Minister of Local Government, who lauded whistleblowers for the brave steps they took before promising them that no stone will remain unturned.
Kat police yingidemu kandoza mukakane information eyongera kweno je tuyina kubanga twagala kutandika ngugambe tutekinzo over Nansana kati.
Nansana municipality received 1.3 billion shillings for garbage collection. However, only 315 million shillings was actually used, as the rest of the money was diverted to yet to be established purpose. Dorcas Kimono, UBC TV News.
From Kampala, let's go north and we go to Lango, where Lango College is one of the oldest schools in Uganda that was started in 1961 at the request of Lango sub-region communities. The O and A level school has maneuvered through all sorts of challenges, including wars, looting, student strikes, and of course it remains the pride of Lango region. But critical structural repairs and expansion are now more needed than ever to revamp the school. It is now rallying support from old students and current students, the central and local governments, plus well-wishers. Details of that in this report.
Old is gold, so goes an old saying. However, if not well managed, old age may become an eyesore. Founded in 1961, Lango College was one of the most beautiful schools in the country, an academic powerhouse and sports giant, where all parents wish to take their children.
When the first A-level class sat in 1969, they sent 7 students to do medicine in Makerere.
However, the school that was reportedly among the best O and A level in academics and sports countrywide in the 1960s up to the early 1980s is now struggling due to old age and is in need of financial and structural resuscitation.
1972 O level. Anybody? We set a record in East Africa which has remained to date. No school in East Africa has ever broken that record. I have the book. I'll bring it one day here.
Lango College, that once topped the entire East African schools in Cantab and the East African Examinations Council, was known then, is only hoping government and its old boys will resuscitate it so that it regains its glorious past.
Infrastructure that are dilapidated is appalling. But we should lose hope.
The legendary school's academic and sports supremacy suffered following years of disrepair, insurgency, and violent strikes.
Because originally this school had a population of over 1,000 students. But because of here, our challenges here and there, they came down to 200. So we expect the number to grow up, and that can only happen when we produce good results. We are appealing to the government to come and help us. When you take the value of what is supposed to be done here, is the volume rather, it becomes too much for us. The walls are gone, no glasses on the windows, the roofs are finished, the walls need painting.
Also damaged was the school's image, beauty, and learning materials like books, metal work and woodwork workshops, and laboratories.
Yeah, now here we have the machines, but this area, this Lango College, is the center of work in the whole region. There's no other school offering this metal work in the whole of this region. So we need actually students to come, and as the president said, would say, skilling in Uganda is very important. So we expect this center to be another center for skilling.
Classrooms, laboratories, the library, workshops, and highly prized school gardens were vandalized at the height of the Lord's Resistance Army insurgency.
We want to look for ways of putting up the furnaces in the classes and then also working on in the dormitories. The municipal have helped us. They have started. Now the plan is underway to also renovate at least one where our students can be accommodated well. That is when we shall come now how to begin working on the courts.
Lango College is now highly banking on government, its old and current students, parents, local and central governments, and all wishers for a facelift and structural overhaul.
I would ask the president to put his hands here, and we'll never forget him in life. The Lange will never forget if Museveni, His Excellency Museveni, puts his hand in Lango College. It will remain in record for good, because education is key.
We have asked the municipal council through the Use Meet program, maybe the social responsibility, if they can help us fix the lights in the school so that students can stay in a well-lit situation. We have asked the headmaster this time to work on the lorry, because that the lorries of this make are strong. It can help us bring firewood, it can help us bring food stuff. So
by
the beginning
may be
of this
an
term,
uphill task, but all the students are determined to make the school great again.
We will send to the world a new generation of the Lango and so many other people who came from far and wide to access our quality education. The Lango people, I implore you, we have done it before, we can do it again. And to do that, we must make sure that the standard of education in this area, in the region, goes up. We must get our students in those areas of science, technology, and innovation. And it's easy, really. We'll talk about it.
Hard work and desire to promote education is now the winning formula for Lango College's restoration.
I am on the ground. I am determined, I am focused to take the school to the next level before I leave the school, if given the opportunity. So far, the steps we have taken from 260 to 769, that is already confidence to the parents. It is reason enough for the parents and anyone to believe that these parents who came on board had seen something good. Discipline is good. We are struggling.
The good news, however, is that most of the Lango College old students are well placed and willing to give a hand.
One of the greatest tools that the world has used to conquer for generations is education. If your people do not value education, then it is most likely true that they will be extinct.
The aging need critical care, for old is gold.
The rest of the alumni, we started thinking together with the leaders of our district local governments and also in government centrally. We believe that this school can rise and shine again. Of course.
Habimana Deo reporting for ABC News.
It's coming to 26 minutes after 10. We'll now take a short break. We'll return with what's happening in the world of business.
Hi, I'm DJ Drogba. On average, almost 250,000 people die on the road in Africa each year. As a proud African, this breaks my heart knowing that so many deaths could have been avoided. So when you're on the roads, follow these safe steps and help save lives. Remember, no person is too big or too small to avoid the effects of alcohol. Just one drink can increase the risk of a serious crash. Once it's in your blood system, the only remedy is time. Short-term remedies such as coffee, cold showers, or energy drinks don't help. If you need to travel after a drink, be responsible. Take a taxi or public transport, or just stay where you are. So when you're on the roads, follow these safe steps and help save lives. We all have a role to play in road safety. Together, let's make Africa's road safer.
Welcome to the Equal Opportunities Commission, an independent statutory body that works towards ensuring that all forms of discrimination, marginalization, and unfair treatment are eliminated. The Equal Opportunities Commission has power of court and can enforce its decisions. It is established and supported by the government of Uganda. It also garners support from development partners, civil society, the private sector, faith-based, and cultural organizations. Visit the Equal Opportunities Commission today, the home of equal opportunities for all, or call us on our toll-free line 0800 100 440. This message is brought to you by the Equal Opportunities Commission with support from the United Nations Human Rights Office.
January, the Hotel Africana, Uganda's sensational sweet love singing maestro, Daudi Lutalo. Uganda concert, Pasatu Murumu January, Hotel Africana, Shillings and Quality, Breaking Quality Tano, and Meza Million is Satu, Saturday February, Colin Hotel Mukono, Billy February, Luerum Sawi, Munana February, Adip Hotel Barara, you know Mutuaro Gumu, Holoku Valentine's Day, Holoku Freedom City, Dosua, Queen Shiba, Uganda concert, they will give you Coca-Cola, Ross for mattresses, Blue Natural Mineral Water, Sidiangu Standard Hotel, 91.3, Nail Post, Lager, live every moment. Olu Centenary Bank, let's pick up, Baba.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field could not be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations, driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Operation Wealth Creation is coordinating all government ministries, departments and agencies to unveil unique investment opportunities in every region of Uganda to local and international investors to transform subsistence farmers into the money economy. Operation Wealth Creation presents the Rwenzori Investment Expo, scheduled for the 30th to 31st of January 2020 at Mountains of the Moon University, Fort Portal City. Theme: Investment for Local Economic Development. This expo is one of the many regional investment expos anchored on agro-industrialization for local economic development, agri-led program, and will be held countrywide. Come explore investment opportunities in the Rwenzori region, from mining, tourism, agriculture, and many more. The guest of honor will be His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda. For more information, contact National Organizing Committee.
Welcome back, and this is News Tonight here on UBC TV. On sign language, it is Elizabeth Nakakoni, and I am Edward Rukidi Kijanagom. Let's have a look now at what's happening in the world of business, where Africa is on steady social and economic path, and it is expected to be home of the 7 out of 10 fastest growing economies in the world between 2020 to 2030. However, according to the latest Foresight Africa 2020-2030 report, various obstacles linger on the continent's economic path to progress. Dennis Tigoa reports.
Foresight Africa top priorities for the African continent 2020-2030 focuses on the priorities of the continent for the next decade. Africa Growth Initiative at Brookings and the Economic Policy Research Center at Makerere University explores the trends and features diverse expert viewpoints.
Africa's perennial problem, as was alluded to earlier, is the fact that the saving rates are very low. And the saving rates are low in part because the demographic transition itself is very slow. And it's slow because fertility rates are still high. So those who do work need to spend a lot taking care of children.
In the current decade, Foresight report predicts the continent will continue being the home to 7 of the world's 10 fastest growing economies. However, for steady economic growth to be achieved, deepening governance in the continent is paramount.
When I was Minister of Finance, I remember in 2006, we had debt forgiveness, and we started back to zero, no debt. I did not know that in my lifetime I was going to see Uganda again getting in such a very serious debt.
Job creation and skills development, improving health and education, and climate change are also cited among the continent's top priorities.
The focus of this report on the SDGs is a testament to the level of importance that research institutions accord to this development framework and the opportunities that they bring to African nations. I would like to highlight that this report focuses also on a very critical issue: the role of building strong institutions and ensuring good governance.
Experts argue that job creation has not caught up with the growing youth labor force, gaps in good and inclusive governance remain, and climate change as well as state fragility threatens to reverse the hard-fought for gains of the past decades. Dennis Ikoa for UBC News.
Thanks, Dennis, for that report there. Meanwhile, ministers from East Africa and the Horn of Africa have agreed on new labor harmonizing policies in the region. Now, this was revealed by the Minister of Gender, Labor and Social Development, Frank Tumwebaze, at the Uganda Media Center. Tumwebaze says the Ministerial Forum also agreed on setting up labor attaché offices in the Gulf and European countries, which receive most of the exported labor from Africa.
On harmonizing labor migration policies in East Africa and Horn of Africa that I attended in Nairobi from the 20th to the 21st of January 2020. This meeting attracted all ministers of labor and social development of those countries of our region. It was hosted by the government of Kenya and facilitated and supported by the International Organization for Migration, for which we are very grateful. Objectives of the forum were: number one, to discuss a harmonized regional strategy on negotiation of bilateral labor agreements with the EU and the Gulf cooperation countries, among other countries of migration where our people go. The other objective of the Ministers' Forum was to share information on the trends, priorities, needs, and interests of member states in order to foster safe and orderly labor mobility within Africa, and to enhance the knowledge and skills of government stakeholders on the establishment of effective mechanisms of preparing migrant workers for employment abroad, and to discuss strategies of promoting and protecting the rights of African migrant workers abroad, to strengthen regional cooperation on labor migration policies, to cooperate in strengthening the capacity of labor migration management institutions. And finally, the other objective was to promote regional cooperation in combating trafficking in humans or persons.
Labour Minister Frank Tumwebaze ending that report there. Now, Pakistan is optimistic of expanding its trade ties with Africa to increase its trade volume with the continent to over $1 billion in the foreseeable future. An inaugural Pakistan-Africa Trade and Investment Summit slated for the 30th and 31st of this month in Nairobi, Kenya, seeks to bolster the existing trade and investment relationship with the continent. We have more in this report.
The Asian country, whose niche is on agricultural value addition technologies, ceramics, cosmetics and pharmaceuticals among others, is holding a Pakistan-Africa Trade Development Conference in Nairobi.
All the economies of the East African community and Pakistan are basically agrarian economies. So there are multiple production over here, but unfortunately the agriculture industry, the implement industry is not so much developed. One of the big opportunity available over here is to import of the agriculture machinery. And for the Pakistan, we can import, there are multiple very good quality fruits and vegetables. It can be exported to Pakistan as well. Beside that, we can go for the mechanization of the agricultural production as well as fruits and vegetables.
Persuading Uganda's business community to participate is what the commercial councillor has been doing in the country. This compelled a visit to the Chamber of Commerce, a key government entity with a robust private sector membership.
In the business, opportunities do not have time limits. Opportunities just fall. So it is always important for business people to be robust, to be expeditious, and fit in the programs of where opportunities have come. This is an opportunity. People are traveling from Pakistan up to Nairobi. Instead of us traveling to Pakistan, we should take this advantage and participate. It is in line with our government strategic plan, 2020 and so on and so forth. Value addition. We need machinery to develop the tea industry, the agricultural industries, a lot of things.
Look Africa policy, being spearheaded by Pakistan, focuses on increasing trade volumes between Africa and Pakistan to over $1 billion per annum. Currently, Pakistan and Africa trade volume is slightly over $800 million. Dennis Igoa for UBC Business.
Let's look now at the tourism sector, where Uganda's tourism industry is on the right track after a difficult period in the 1970s and 80s that had a decline in foreign visitors and ultimately a significant drop in revenue to the country. Tourism sector flourishes in a peaceful environment that has been provided in the last 3.5 decades of stability.
Uganda's tourism industry has recovered from a riotous past that led to the rapid decline in foreign tourists. Peace and security that the country has experienced in the last 3 decades is attributed to this tourism vibrancy.
First of all, we must celebrate that we started on the right track. By 1966, Uganda was one of the top 3 visited destinations in Africa. We had the infrastructure, we had the ferries on the lake, we had the game parks well managed, and then disaster occurred. We, to a large extent, the dark years of political instability chased away our tourists.
Tourism is one of the fastest growing sectors in the country, attracting millions of visitors and billions of dollars in revenue annually. Statistics from the Uganda Bureau of Statistics shows an upward growth trajectory. In 2016, tourism contributed at least $1.35 billion into Uganda's export basket. In 2017, revenue increased to at least $1.4 billion. In 2018-2019 financial year, Uganda Bureau of Statistics shows a revenue growth of about $1.6 billion and an increase of visitors to 1.8 million. In the last financial year, revenue from tourism is estimated to have closed to the $2 billion mark.
At the moment, I'm told there are 1.9 million arrivals. When we left UTB, 1.4 million arrivals were spending about 1.5 billion US dollars. So going with those ratios, assume every tourist that comes here will blow about $1,000. You can be confident to claim that the tourism industry contributes about $2 billion US dollars to this economy per year. In a country where our GDP is not yet 30 billion, that is a significant contribution that would closely come to even more than 10% if you, no, slightly less than 10% if you wish.
A successful tourism industry creates a strong value chain that impacts positively on livelihoods and the overall economic growth of the country. Over the years, Uganda's tourism sector has influenced the growth of the service industry. Hotels and lodges catering for a diverse clientele have mushroomed all over the country. Areas of focus that can spur the sector growth include aggressive promotion and marketing, diversifying tourism product range, improving tourism and hospitality skills.
So Masai Mara alone collects far much more money compared to all the national parks in Uganda. And you can also see the rooms. Masai Mara by the end of this year will have 5,000 rooms. Yeah? All our 10 national parks combined inside have less than 2,000 beds. All of them combined. And Masai Mara is what? 2,500 square kilometers? Far much smaller than Mason Falls National Park. And the value you get in Mason Falls National Park is much higher than you would get in Masai Mara.
One of the binding constraints in the developing the sector has been the human capacity gap. If you go to all these hotels, most of the managers are foreigners. Why? Because we have not trained Ugandans to that level of manning institutions, and that institution is being revamped. It's a big contract now. You need to watch them so that they complete the work on time. And also you need, again, to follow up on partnership with this institution. To become a center of excellence will take more than what we have here.
Strengthening conservation, improving tourism support infrastructure, and preserving natural and cultural heritage assets are also key in fast-tracking sector growth and development.
Tourism has the potential to contribute significantly to economic development. It tends to be labor intensive, and therefore the growth of the sector translates into more employment, higher incomes, and the transformation of communities. Tourism in Uganda has the potential to promote fast, sustainable, and more inclusive growth. It can be used as a powerful weapon to tackle poverty and inequality, as it employs a high percentage of women and youth.
Some of its proposals which directly impact on the tourism industry have attracted scrutiny and sometimes condemnation. For instance, the plan to build a power dam on the Murchison Falls National Park has been vehemently opposed by the private sector players and environmentalists.
Because a third of the total tourists who come to the country, if we lose them, and what is attracting them to the Murchison Falls National Park is actually the falls themselves. And finally, if it becomes Murchison Falls Dam, I don't know what it will be called, that will be a total nightmare, and it will be very, very bad.
Government's defense on such proposals is anchored on the country's Vision 2040, whose key objective is transforming Uganda from a peasant to an industrialized economy. At the center of these ambitious targets is electricity, an engine of industrialization.
Tourism is a service, but no doubt. But this service is a commodity service. Commodity service because it involves inviting foreigners to see you in your state of nature, unaffected by civilization. No country can ever succeed by investing in agro-processing or tourism. What we need is value-added manufacturing.
Tourism will continue to be one of Uganda's highest revenue earners for decades to come, but the sustainability of the industry will rely most likely on a strong public and private partnership, peace and security, products diversification, environmental conservation, and citizens' participation, among others.
I think we still lack domestic tourism. When we are promoting tourism, we also need to look at ourselves. How many places have we visited, us as Ugandans? And to make matters even more difficult, as the people from Buganda, we don't move out to see what is in Kabale, what is wherever.
Despite the successes of the tourism industry, experts and stakeholders have in the recent years urged government to increase budgetary allocation to the sector in order to compete favorably in marketing destination Uganda to the world. Reporting for UBC News, Penina Nahwera.
Let's move further afield, and the UN has called for international help to fight huge swarms of desert locusts sweeping through East Africa. A spokesman for the UN's Food and Agriculture Organization called for aid to avert any threats to food security, livelihoods and malnutrition. Ethiopia, Kenya and Somalia are all struggling with unprecedented and devastating swarms of the food-devouring insects, the FAO has said. Now, the agency fears locust numbers could grow 500 times by June. Ethiopia and Somalia have not faced an infestation on this scale for 25 years, while Kenya has not seen a locust threat this size for 70 years, the FAO said earlier this week. Sports news, and we begin with chess, where Security Minister General Eli Tumwine has lauded initiative by Dove's Chess Academy and Focus Youth Forum of organizing the inaugural NRM Liberation Day Chess Tournament. The theme of the tournament is developing leadership capacity through sports. Our reporter John Barnes Sentamu gives us more.
For the first time in a while, Ugandans will enjoy the 34th National Resistance Movement Liberation Day with a chess tournament. It has been launched by Security Minister General Eli Tumwine, who is the patron of Focus Youth Forum, under which organizers Dove's Chess Academy are an affiliate.
I must thank the organizers of this tournament to celebrate the heroes of our revolution. We feel very, very encouraged, and I think you deserve a very big clap. That you not only organized the independence tournament, but you have now organized the NRM Victory Celebrations tournament to celebrate with us in style. Our whole purpose of struggling and sacrificing, our whole purpose of offering our lives was that we would create a new, better generation. And we are very, very proud. We are very, very proud that we now have a wonderful, new, educated, encouraged, healthy generation of Ugandans. 34 years of raising up a new generation has been an interesting task for us.
The tournament due this Saturday at Nob View Hotel in Ntinda will attract more than 200 players in various age categories like 8, 10, 12, 16, 18 and 21.
On the question of going into schools and training, that's the way to go. I always tell you of the three things: values, and sharing. Anything is a thing, everything is a thing, and everything has its own unique value. But that value is worthless, is useless if it is not shared.
Dove's Chess Academy director Christine Namaganda promises quality by the players at the 6 rounds tournament to be played on the Swiss format, with 25 minutes allowed per round. John Barnes, Sentamo, reporting.
Golf news now, and over 70 children have finished their golf clinic at Entebbe Golf Club as the golfing fraternity looks up to skilling young golfers. Lady President Eva Magara says the focus is to introduce golf to young scholars in a bid to nurture talent at a tender age.
We registered 27 schools, and this year our target is to register 50 schools. And that campaign, I wanted to go even up country, to have it as a game that is continuously growing, just like any other game. If it's basketball, football, it's inclusive of every age.
Tough game, but I was able to get through it with God's grace, and it's a good game. I played well. It was very good. We have been training so much for this tournament, and our captain is none other than Tamara, who we all support and all love. One was playing fantastically. I was a runner-up. It was really interesting and fun. I tried my best too.
Football now, and Uganda's national under-17 women team is set to fly to Bahir Dar, that is in Ethiopia, for the return leg of the first round of the FIFA under-17 World Cup qualifiers. Now Uganda has a 2-0 advantage from the first leg played in Kampala 2 weeks ago, with goals scored by Juliet Nalukenge and Catherine Nagadia. The squad is unchanged from the one that featured against Ethiopia in the first leg. Chrysostom Kalibala is the leader of delegation, with players like Dafin Nyanyenga, Samali Nakachwa, Sumaya Komuntale, Bira Nadunga and others. Now the winner of the 2 legs will play the winner between Burundi and Tanzania in the next round. The under-17 Uganda team won the Sekafa under-17 Women Championship last year, and also the Kosafa tournament, where they had been invited as a guest team. That was sports news, but we'll now have a short break, but we'll be returning to show you what is happening tomorrow in as far as the weather prospects are concerned.
Thank you for staying with UBC. I'm Sharon Nakajiri with today's latest weather report from Uganda National Meteorological Authority. We are still experiencing dry, hazy conditions across most parts of Uganda, especially in the northern parts of the country, because we are having dry, dusty winds from the northern parts of the continent towards our country, Uganda. Tomorrow morning, we are forecasting sunny intervals along Lake Victoria. That includes our capital city, Kampala, while in the north, we shall have bright and sunny conditions. Temperatures are expected to rise up to 32 degrees Celsius in Gulu and Kitgum, while in Kampala temperatures will rise up to 29 degrees Celsius. For Kabale Highlands, we are forecasting 25 degrees Celsius. For international weather forecast, we are forecasting cloudy conditions in Doha. As for Johannesburg, we shall have thunder showers. Temperatures will rise up to 32 degrees Celsius in Mombasa. As for Doha, we are forecasting 22 degrees Celsius. That brings me nicely to the end of this weather report. Till tomorrow, have a good night.
And a good night to you too. And now let's have a look at our top stories. In our news tonight, NRM NEC endorses lining up for primaries. The 6 charged over electronic fraud. Agriculture gonna be hit as locusts ravage Horn of Africa. And in sports, Dove's Chess Academy hosts a Liberation Tourney. It is coming to 6 minutes to the hour of 11 here in the studios of UBC TV. Thank you so much for having been part of this bulletin on sign language. It has been Elizabeth Nakakuni, and I am Edward Rukidiki Janangoma, wishing you a blessed night.
was brought to you by UCC, celebrating 20 years of achievements.
The family of Engineer Ezekiel Solomon Balaba and Professor Ezra Srum of Kabale District, with deep sorrow announces the untimely death of their father-stroke brother, Engineer Ezekiel Solomon Balaba, which has occurred today, the 24th of January 2020. Funeral arrangements will be communicated later. May his soul rest in eternal peace.
On Sunday, the 26th of January 2020,